Municipalities in Texas are allowed to make changes to the adopted code with an ordinance, but only to make the requirements more stringent, not less. Therefore, a building official's decision to exclude smoke detectors from the requirements of 210.12b is not valid. The intent of the state law is to allow municipalities to have more stringent requirements than the adopted code, not less. This is to ensure that the electrical code is always being updated to reflect the latest safety standards. In this case, a building official's decision to exclude smoke detectors from the requirements of 210.12b would make the electrical code less stringent and would therefore not be valid. Understanding the intricacies of electrical code requires a thorough grasp of both the adopted national standards and any local amendments. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, serves as a baseline for safe electrical installations. However, states and municipalities often have the authority to modify this code to address specific local conditions or to enhance safety beyond the NEC minimum requirements. When interpreting these local amendments, it is crucial to determine whether they are intended to make the code more restrictive or less restrictive than the NEC. Generally, the intent behind allowing local amendments is to provide municipalities with the flexibility to address unique challenges or to implement higher safety standards. This flexibility is particularly important in areas with specific environmental conditions, aging infrastructure, or other factors that may warrant more stringent electrical regulations. In the scenario described, where a Texas municipality has adopted the 2002 NEC with state licensing, the key question is whether the building official's decision to exclude smoke detectors from the requirements of 210.12b aligns with the intent of the state law. Section 210.12b of the NEC pertains to arc fault circuit interrupter protection, or PSI protection, which is designed to prevent electrical fires caused by arcing faults. Smoke detectors are critical life safety devices that provide early warning of fires, allowing occupants to evacuate safely. Excluding smoke detectors from the requirements of 210.12b would effectively reduce the level of fire protection in the affected areas. Given that the intent of state law is to allow municipalities to adopt more stringent requirements, not less, the building official's decision appears to be inconsistent with this intent. To properly interpret the local amendment, it is necessary to examine the specific wording of the ordinance and the rationale behind it. If the ordinance explicitly states that smoke detectors are exempt from the PSI protection requirements, it may be necessary to challenge the validity of the ordinance based on its conflict with the state law's intent. On the other hand, if the ordinance is ambiguous or does not directly address smoke detectors, the building official's interpretation may be subject to legal challenge. In either case, it is important to consult with qualified legal counsel to determine the best course of action. In addition to the legal aspects, it is also essential to consider the safety implications of the building official's decision. Smoke detectors are proven to save lives by providing early warning of fires. Reducing or eliminating the requirements for smoke detectors can significantly increase the risk of fire-related injuries and fatalities. Therefore, it is imperative to prioritize safety and to ensure that the electrical code adequately protects building occupants from fire hazards. To further clarify the situation, it may be helpful to consult with other electrical code experts or to seek guidance from the state licensing board. These professionals can provide valuable insights into the intent of the state law and the proper interpretation of the local ordinance. Additionally, it may be beneficial to engage in discussions with the building official to understand the reasoning behind the decision and to explore potential alternatives that would maintain an acceptable level of fire safety. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that the electrical code is enforced in a manner that protects the public health and safety while adhering to the intent of the state law. In cases where there is a conflict between the local ordinance and the state law, it may be necessary to seek a formal legal opinion or to pursue litigation to resolve the issue. The interpretation of electrical codes can be complex and subject to different interpretations. It is essential to rely on qualified professionals and to carefully consider all relevant factors to arrive at a sound and defensible decision. When dealing with electrical codes and local amendments, keep the following points in mind. Firstly, understand the hierarchy of codes. The NEC is the base, but state and local amendments can modify it. Secondly, review the specific wording of the local ordinance and identify any ambiguities or inconsistencies. Thirdly, determine the intent of the state law and whether the local amendment aligns with that intent. Fourthly, consider the safety implications of the local amendment and whether it adequately protects building occupants. Fifthly, consult with qualified legal counsel and electrical code experts for guidance. Sixthly, engage in discussions with the building official to understand the rationale behind the decision. Seventhly, seek a formal legal opinion or pursue litigation if necessary to resolve conflicts. The NEC is updated regularly to reflect advances in technology and safety practices. Staying current with the latest edition of the NEC is crucial for ensuring that electrical installations meet the highest standards of safety. The NEC provides detailed requirements for various aspects of electrical installations, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. Adhering to these requirements is essential for preventing electrical hazards and ensuring the safe operation of electrical systems. Local amendments to the NEC can address specific local conditions or enhance safety beyond the NEC minimum requirements. These amendments may be necessary to address unique environmental conditions, aging infrastructure, or other factors that may warrant more stringent electrical regulations. When evaluating local amendments, it is important to consider their impact on the overall safety of electrical installations. Amendments that weaken the code or reduce safety requirements should be carefully scrutinized and challenged if necessary. The enforcement of electrical codes is typically the responsibility of local building officials. These officials are tasked with reviewing construction plans, inspecting electrical installations, and ensuring that they comply with the applicable codes. Building officials play a critical role in protecting the public from electrical hazards. It is essential for building officials to have a thorough understanding of the NEC and any local amendments. They should also be able to interpret the codes correctly and to apply them consistently. In cases where there is a dispute over the interpretation of the code, it may be necessary to seek guidance from a qualified electrical code expert or to obtain a formal legal opinion. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Electricians, contractors, building owners, and occupants all have a role to play in ensuring that electrical systems are safe and properly maintained. Electricians and contractors should be properly trained and licensed. They should also be familiar with the NEC and any local amendments. Building owners and occupants should be aware of potential electrical hazards and should take steps to prevent them. They should also report any electrical problems to a qualified electrician promptly. Electrical inspections are an important part of the electrical safety process. Inspections help to identify potential hazards and to ensure that electrical installations comply with the applicable codes. Electrical inspections should be performed by qualified inspectors who are familiar with the NEC and any local amendments. Regular electrical inspections can help to prevent electrical fires, shocks, and other hazards. When planning an electrical installation, it is important to consider the specific needs of the building and its occupant. The electrical system should be designed to meet the current and future electrical needs of the building. The system should also be designed to be safe and reliable. It is important to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor to ensure that the electrical system is properly designed and installed. Electrical maintenance is essential for ensuring the continued safe operation of electrical systems. Regular maintenance can help to identify and correct potential problems before they become serious hazards. Electrical maintenance should be performed by qualified electricians. Maintenance tasks may include inspecting wiring, tightening connections, testing devices, and replacing worn or damaged components. Electrical codes are constantly evolving to reflect advances in technology and safety practices. Staying current with the latest codes is essential for ensuring that electrical installations meet the highest standards of safety. Electricians, contractors, building officials, and others involved in the electrical industry should participate in continuing education programs to stay up to date on the latest codes and best practices. By working together, we can ensure that electrical systems are safe, reliable, and efficient. It's important to reiterate that municipalities can only make the code stricter, not more lenient. The building official's decision appears to contradict the purpose of enabling municipalities to update standards for safety. In these scenarios where conflict arises, it is advised to seek counsel from legal or qualified professional entities. In addition, remember that updated codes can vary by location, so make sure to adhere to the latest standards for the specific area.